Good evening, and welcome to the Miracle of Prosperity. I am your host, Reverend Jim Webb, Senior Minister of the Tacoma Metaphysical Chapel in Silver Spring, Maryland, and author of the book, The Soul of Prosperity. Now tonight, we have a very special guest and a very special agenda. And I want to begin by drawing a parallel here. One of the things that we often work with on the show is based on a Rumi quote. And that is the Rumi quote that our task is not to seek for love, but to merely seek and find all the barriers we have placed against love. Well, prosperity in any of its forms, any aspect of prosperity is just a form of love being made manifest. So in order to manifest prosperity, we must simply remove the barriers to all the prosperity that is our birthright that already exists. And one of the ways to remove the barriers to prosperity is to heal. For what is healing other than removing barriers so that we can operate optimally and easily and effortlessly attract our desires? So in other words, in order to remove the barriers to prosperity, we must heal. And so healing is an integral aspect of any type of prosperity. For example, if you want to experience more professional prosperity, you have to heal your mind of any miseducation you've had about work and worth. If you want to heal any aspect of your relationship prosperity, you have to heal your heart of old wounds and old miseducation as it relates to what relationships are supposed to look like. If you want to open yourself by removing any barriers to financial prosperity, you have to heal your mind and any miseducation you have had about money and your good. So healing is an integral part of prosperity. For healing allows prosperity. So I have a guest tonight. We're going to discuss that. And the guest that I have tonight is a multifaceted, multi-talented healer. She's a Renaissance woman, college professor, psychotherapist, a corporate worker, a great deal of experience in a number of healing modalities. Reverend Tonya Parker, we're so glad you're here. Welcome, Reverend Parker.
Thank you so much. It is indeed my pleasure to be here.
It's such an honor. And let me just share with the audience some of the ways you heal that you may not even realize are different ways that you heal. I remember once when we watched that movie and you made that African peanut soup. Remember that?
I remember that.
Yes. You have no idea how that healed my heart. And when you were doing your soups regularly, I would so look forward to those soups because they were so filled with love.
Hmm.
When you speak, and Reverend Tonya Parker, some of you remember the last time she spoke, I said, I want everybody on the planet to hear this sermon. It was just that good. When you
Hmm.
speak, you bring such healing. When you're in your presence, there is such healing. Now, she does body work and she also does coaching to help people. And she's also the author of a book that helps us to heal from distress to de-stress that is available on Amazon.com. And she's a powerful Reiki instructor. So she's a healer in so many modalities. Some conscious, most simply because she is who she is. So I want to talk with you, Reverend Tanya, about healing. And let's start with Reiki, because you are a Reiki instructor and you've helped many people to work with Reiki. And
Mm.
I didn't know what Reiki was all about the first time I got Reiki. I just know that I just laid down on this massage table and I thought I was going to get a massage. And next thing you know, I went out. And when I came back in, I felt like a new person. My energy had so
Mm.
cleared. It was stunning to me. So, you are a Reiki instructor, and that is one of
Mhm.
your key modalities of healing. Help me understand how Reiki and healing through Reiki can help us to clear our energies and allow more prosperity.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for that very generous introduction and, acknowledgement of the various ways that I may be a conduit of healing. And that's exactly what Reiki is. We practitioners become channels of this beautiful universal love energy. And this energy is so abundant and it's there and available for folks. And so if we say yes to Reiki, we say yes to a path in which we are clearing our channel. We are clearing blockages to our good so that we can ooh, provide this clear pathway for these energies to flow through us to the person or the situation that is receiving. And Reiki really is based on the concept of non duality.
Mhm.
So, most of the Reiki, we realize that we are one with the Reiki and we are one with the person who is receiving the healing. Um, when anyone goes through a doctor goes to medical school, we'll say,
Mhm.
and they learn all
Yes.
the allopathic medical ways of practice. They learn about the
Hmm.
different systems of the body, the cardiovascular system, the
Yes.
nervous system, all of that, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So very few of them learn about the subtle energetic system. And
Yes.
so with the subtle energetic system, that's what Reiki works on.
Does it
Looking
work
at
through the meridians, Reverend Tanya?
the meridians, the chakras that,
Hmm.
run on and around the body and that
Hmm.
regulate the flow of energy on the body. That's
Hmm.
just how Reiki works. And so it works on the physical level, but also the mental, emotional, and spiritual level as well.
Hmm. Yes. So there were a couple of parallels that I want to draw there to what, based on what you just said. Number one, I want to draw the parallel. When we practice Reiki or experience Reiki, what we're doing is we're letting the universal energy that is an infinite supply move through us and removing the blockages to its flow. Did I hear that correctly, Reverend Tanya?
Absolutely.
Okay. And when we remove the blockages and allow that universal energy to flow, that universal energy must, must, must create loving outcomes because that universal energy is love. And loving inputs create loving outputs. And loving inputs create loving outcomes. And what is prosperity other than loving outcomes in every aspect of our lives? So I wanted to just underline, highlight, emphasize, and italicize that because Reiki and Reiki healing is simply a mode that removes the blockages to love being made manifest in the form of all the prosperity that we desire. And I want to talk about one other thing and elaborate on another thing you said. And that is because I always uh, put things back in the framework of A Course in Miracles. When
Mm-hmm.
we open to Reiki and we receive this universal energy and we experience that love and we experience that light and we experience that grace and we experience that healing, it flows through us and we share it. And I
Mm-hmm.
purposefully use the word share because we don't give it away. We think when we say give, we think, oh, this is an infinite form, and if I give it, I lose it, as if there's a zero-sum game. But I like to say we share it. And what we
Yes.
share, we magnify. And
Mhm.
so when you share this energy, you magnify the presence of this energy on the earth. And what you share comes back to you. And that's A Course in Miracles lesson 108. Giving and receiving are one. So you
Mhm.
can't give what you don't have. But when you receive it and you share it, you create a conduit for even more of it. And so
Yes.
healing and helping can be a way to increase your channel for good. And you teach Reiki, don't you, Reverend Tonya?
Most definitely. Actually, Reverend Jim, I've been teaching
Yes.
Reiki since 2010 when you asked me to teach for the
Hmm.
chapel. And prior to that, it was like,
Yes.
oh, I can't teach Reiki. But there's something about a Reverend Jim request. It's hard to say no to you, Reverend Jim. And so you
Probably
helped
because I
me.
pestered the heck out of you.
Well, you have this gift of helping people see their blind spots or aspects about themselves that they don't necessarily see. Now, some may see that as good or bad, but you saw this higher vision of me to teach
Yes.
back then. So, fast forward 13 years later, I am still teaching. I am loving it, being able to share Reiki in that way and to help other practitioners to step into their mastery.
And I see you've got students from all around the world because, girlfriend, you know I follow you on Facebook.
I do. I've been doing classes out in Oakland, California, and I'll be doing a class in Chicago next month. But my very first global student was from Australia because I can also teach it virtually.
Yes. Wow.
Mhm.
So, hear that, folks. Opening to healing, allowing yourself to heal, giving yourself permission to recognize that you are a channel or a conduit for healing, and sharing healing in any way creates a current that allows more prosperity. And that's why I wanted to title this show Healing for Prosperity. And let's look at some of the other ways that people can heal. And I want to look at some of the other things that you do so that people can recognize that they can heal for prosperity in very innocuous and natural ways. And I purposefully brought up the soup because, as you might have suspected from time to time, Reverend Tanya, or the audience, I like a little food.
Oh, yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes, every blue moon, I like a little food. But
Mm,
what strikes me about that is when you channel love into your food and when you give food, that food is simply a physical and crude approximation of the nurturing of God that you share. So that's healing too. And as you share that healing, you open the channel, you open your conduit for more prosperity. Because remember, A Course in Miracles, lesson 108, giving and receiving are one.
oh, wow.
So, people at home, you can share by simply making a meal. And and you make a good meal for yourself. Share some with someone. I'm always a good guinea pig. Share. And what you've done is you've increased your flow of prosperity. A kind word, a word of encouragement, a smile.
Mhm.
The point of all of this is that we can all consciously and mindfully open to all the modalities of healing. And the more modalities of healing we open to experience and share, the more we open ourselves to more prosperity. Does that make sense, Reverend Tanya?
That makes absolute sense. Yes.
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 And when we come back from break, we're going to talk about some ways that sharing healing has prospered others and ourselves. And we're going to talk about that, and we're going to get to some other innocuous ways that we can all go from distress to de-stress, because that is healing too. And we'll get to that in a moment after the break here on the New Thought Media Network.
Choice, your creative superpower. We have the power to manifest as we dedicate attention to our thoughts, but often miss opportunity to achieve the greatest good. Your superpower is waiting to be unleashed to unlock a fuller, more rewarding world for all. Join us every Thursday at noon Mountain Time for Choice, Your Creative Superpower with Zoe DeMuro.
Have you heard the big news? CSL Denver is growing. Join us, in person or online, every Sunday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. In-person services are held at 612 South Grant Street, Denver, Colorado. Or join us online at www.csldenver.org. Center for Spiritual Living Denver. You are welcome here.
Watch me change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change.
And we're back here on the Miracle of Prosperity. And I'm here with Reverend Tonya Parker, a wonderful Renaissance healer in so many modalities. And so, Reverend Tonya, why don't you share with us some other modalities of healing that you have found to be beneficial to others and to support them in their journey of prosperity?
Thank you so much. Actually, I started my career in psychotherapy, and I left that several years ago once I went to massage school because I realized I'm a very kinesthetic person and
Mm-hmm.
I like being in actual physical proximity to folks.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have used massage therapy as a powerful healing tool because, we know that a lot of disease and distress, it starts in our mental and emotional body. And
Yes.
then it will manifest in our physical over a certain period
Mm-hmm.
of time if we don't receive the healing or the interventions that we need. So, massage is a really good way to get in there and actually feel the physical manifestation of stress on the body
Yes.
and
Yes.
helping to remove blockages in that way. So, as my age increases a bit, Reverend Jim, as
Yes.
I get closer to that 60 in a few years,
Mm.
I realize that, I want others to learn what I've been learning. I've been trying to put
Mm-hmm.
myself out of business, basically. So I've been
Mm-hmm.
teaching self massage. So
Mm.
people have the tools themselves to be able to remove the blockages that they can reach, that they can handle in a safe way. So that is certainly one tool. And so when we talk about massage, there are different points on our body that we can press when we're having headaches.
Mm-hmm.
On the bottoms of our feet, we have all these nerve endings and reflex points that
Mm.
correspond to other areas of the body. So if
Is that called
we
reflexology?
that is called foot reflexology. We also can do it with
Okay.
the hands and the ears.
Oh.
So yes, yes, hand
Mm.
reflexology and auricular reflexology.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely those are modalities that can be used as well. One of my favorites is aromatherapy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a nature girl and I
Okay.
love what the earth provides for us. And,
Hmm.
when we use these essential oils,
Mm.
making use of anything from the root to the stems to the flowers, to the peels of different plant life and
Mhm.
trees, we can create these really powerful essences that are
Mm.
healing on so many levels. And
Mm.
so I love aromatherapy because it can be integrated with just about any modality out there. So, put into a massage lotion and you can have it for massage, or diffuse it in the air and you can have it during Reiki or during acupuncture, or even during a coaching session.
Mm.
And it's just, during the pandemic, we've had to
Mhm.
try to educate more people to use the
Yes.
oils themselves, because
Yes.
we have a lot more virtual sessions. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
So anything that
That's
deals with relaxation. Mhm.
okay. Okay. So you hear that, folks at home? Anything you can avail yourself to that helps you to relax can be a conduit for more of the energy that supports the manifestation of your prosperity. So, next time you think about getting a massage and you think, oh no, that costs too much, just
Mhm.
imagine that if you were to open yourself and to remove blockages as a result of that massage, what could come through you? And maybe the thing that would come through you is the $1 million idea waiting to be manifest through you
Mhm.
specifically for you. And let me give you an example of that. When my mother passed in 1999, a few months later, I gave myself permission to have a massage. And I thought I had dealt with all that stuff, right?
Mhm.
But then as I was sitting on the massage table, I didn't even know how much grief was
Mhm.
left in me. And I could just, as I was receiving the massage, I could just hear something within me saying, I miss my mother.
Mhm.
And of course, I absolutely lost it. I absolutely lost it. And the massage therapist was so wonderful. But for the next 3 days, it was like I was high on a pound of cocaine, like Cocaine Bear, because I had
Mhm.
such energy of creativity moving through me. And
Mhm.
I literally practically wrote a book in 3 days as a result, because the
Mhm.
blockage had been removed. And the reason that I share with you that story is because it is illustrative of how, when we remove the blockages, there is a flow that is the flow of the divine idea, the divine energy, the divine power and presence that wants to move through us and be made manifest on the earth for the good of the earth, for the good of
Mhm.
everyone, and for your good as well. And that's why
Mhm.
I loved your book. That's why I loved your book, From Distress to De-Stress, the ABCs. The reason I love your book, Reverend Tanya, and I have a copy of it. Obviously, I have a copy of it if I'm telling everybody I love it. But I love your book because it has all of these easily accessible ways to, in a heartbeat, go from distress to de stress. And some of them are obvious, like B is for breathe. But some of them
Mhm.
really took me by surprise. They took me by surprise in terms of how easy they are, yet how powerful they are. The one that I loved the most of all of them that took me by
Mhm.
surprise was J for jaw in relaxing your jaw.
Ah, yes,
Yeah. But I didn't
yes.
realize how much tension we carried in our jaw. And if we were to become aware of it, we could become aware of the root causes of that tension and release not only the tension, but the root cause for it and open ourselves to more flow of good. What were some
Mhm.
of your favorites, Reverend Tanya, in the book? From
Well,
distress to distress.
I like the jaw one too, because mm, we often don't even realize that we have jaw tension, and it
Yes.
can mimic a migraine just
Mm.
by the tension in the jaw. And, when
Yes.
I touch people's shoulders, I can
Hmm.
usually tell if they have jaw issues because there is that
Really?
connection there. Yes,
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Uh, yeah, yeah, but, I have to say one of my favorites is T for tennis ball,
Here's the
because
tennis
a
ball.
lot of people
Yes.
don't think about that, and so one of my
Uh-huh.
little tricks that I use is I keep a tennis ball underneath my desk because I work from home, and,
Yes.
I can get caught up in doing what I do and
Hmm.
forget to stand, and my feet get tired, and,
Hmm.
so I just grab my tennis ball
Hmm.
and I use it to provide my own foot reflexology with the tennis ball.
Mm.
And so, I had to learn though, my cat likes the tennis ball too. So I had to put it in a big fluffy sock so
Uh-huh.
that one, it helps it not to roll, but the cat can't see it as much as the
Yes.
tennis ball. And so it's
Uh-huh.
more likely to stay put versus go missing, as some of my
Okay.
previous tennis balls have gone.
Okay. Yeah. Of course, one of my other favorites is Why for Yummy Food.
Of course.
Uh-huh. How you never would have guessed that. But the reason that
Yes.
I love this book is because it offers so many easy, readily accessible tools for moving from distress to becoming de-stressed. And
Mhm,
that
mm,
helps to open us. Now, one of the things that opens us to is the root cause of any stress, which is an error in thinking. And this
mm,
gets us back to A Course in Miracles. There are some lessons in A Course in Miracles. I am not upset for the reasons that I think. Because quite often, the root cause of our distress is not in the trigger, but it is in what the trigger brings us to in terms of
mhm,
prior miseducation, old pains or resentments that it triggers, etc. So anytime we move from distress to de-stress, part of that distressing is finding out what is the root cause of this stress
mhm,
and what is the truth I need to know to replace the idea that I had so that I might be in peace and flow and harmony
mhm.
and love and grace and good. So how would you help what would you suggest people do once they move from distress to de-stress to have a deeper awareness of the root cause? What would you recommend, Reverend Tanya?
That is a great question. So we think we are done, when we
Mhm.
start to feel better, but it takes work to
Yes.
maintain that, right? And
Yes. Uh-huh.
so taking that deeper dive can be so helpful. So, if you want to do any type of meditation practice, connecting more deeply with source,
Mm-hmm.
talking to the cause of, what's going on here. I see
Yes.
that you're acting out, you
Mm-hmm.
need are acting out. What is that?
Mm-hmm.
What is
Yes.
it that you need?
Mm-hmm.
um Getting some help from someone else.
Mm.
I mean, I'm a big fan of coaching,
Yes.
and as a former psychotherapist,
Mm-hmm.
what if you need to dig even deeper, just continuing to peel back those layers, to not take it at face value. My knee
Yes.
hurt, it feels better, and it should
Mm-hmm.
feel better the rest of my life. Well,
Mm-hmm.
your knee starts to hurt again. Huh,
Mm.
what's the cause of that? And it
Mm.
may be, I have to tell you, I love reading our beloved Reverend Lisa Ray's book about past
Yes.
lives, right? And
Uh-huh.
so
Yes.
you never know. It could be an issue that's going on from a past life or
Yes.
someone in our ancestry. Because we
Mm.
know when we heal, we don't heal alone, right? If
Yes.
we're,
Uh-huh.
paying attention to A Course in Miracles. And
Yes.
so it very well may be taking the opportunity to work with a professional to go back and to
Mm.
see where does this stem from? Is this something from my past?
Mm.
Is it from my ancestral past? Is
Mm.
it from a past life? So I
Mm.
always like to check in, and spirit has the answers. So
Yeah.
whatever we can do to create these unblocking of barriers so we
Mm-hmm.
can connect more deeply with spirit and our
Mm.
deep listening to get answers, that can
Yes.
help keep us on the right path.
Okay, okay. And we've got a couple of questions. And one, we've got two, one from Tracy and Orlandi, and that is tapping a form of reflexology?
Mm. They are both powerful modalities. They are distinct modalities, um, because reflexology really does work with distinct, I'll say, places on the bottom of the feet, areas that connect with particular meridians that move throughout your body, particular organs that move throughout your body. So there is a science to it, so to speak. And so it's different, but certainly complementary, to
Yeah.
tapping, both powerful modalities.
And yeah, and both kind of work with those meridians. Now, Jolly Wright has a very fascinating comment, and it tracks specifically with something that you just said about when we were talking about going to the root cause
Hmm.
in order
Hmm.
to heal the blockage at its root. Otherwise, it will
Hmm.
just recur again and recur again and recur again and recur again. And one of the things she mentioned, you mentioned past lives, ancestral energies, ancestral patterns. She mentioned epigenetics, which,
Hmm.
in my limited awareness and understanding, epigenetics is how our DNA gets slightly twisted, altered, or encoded based on
Hmm.
trauma passed from parent to child or from generation to generation.
Yes.
And I read
Yes.
a fascinating study about mice and how when a parent mouse somehow was conditioned to overeat, 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 their DNA got changed ever so subtly, and they
Hmm.
passed that overeating gene to their offspring. And that was one of the clearest pieces of evidence of epigenetics. Can you speak to that a little bit
Hmm.
more, Reverend Don?
Well, what happens to mice can also happen to humans. And
Yes.
we do have ways of shifting our DNA, based on the trauma we experience, the circumstances that we experience. And yes, it is passed on. And so the good news is, however, is that we can shift and make changes to the good as well.
Yes. Yes.
Once we realize that, oh, this is here, what can
Mhm.
I do for future generations? Because
Yes.
once again, the
Hmm.
healing happens both ways. We can
Uh-huh.
make shifts and see that our genetics can change. It lets us know that we're not static as
Yes.
human beings. We're dynamic. We
Yes.
regenerate, our organs and our systems. And so our DNA can shift and change too, by the food that we eat, by
Mm.
the, different frequencies we bring to ourselves through the different healing modalities. So
Yes.
definitely.
So when I am healed, I am not healed alone. And
I think
so
that's
it,
the catchphrase for tonight, right? Yes.
yes,
That's
yes,
the ACIM lesson that really
yes,
is moving through. Yes.
yes, absolutely. And so and this is so important because we radiate out whatever frequency we are vibrating with in the same way that one of those old metal radiators radiates a
Mhm.
temperature. Because what is a temperature other than a frequency, right?
Right.
And so we radiate out a frequency as well. So when we heal, we support others in healing. And
Mhm.
so, and this gets to something that has been a part of our miseducation, especially those of us who were nurturers and many mothers. There's
Mhm.
this idea that if I do something for myself, I am taking away from my family or those that I serve. And in truth, because of this idea, when I am healed, I am not healed alone. When you avail yourself to a healing that opens your flow of energy, chi, good, love, light, inspiration, or any other aspect of the flow of God's loving energy, when you avail yourself to that, you support others in their healing as well. And so that's another way that we can heal for prosperity. Because when we heal, we do not heal alone, and we support others in their healing and our collective prosperity.
Yes,
So, and we're going to take,
absolutely.
yes, so we're going to take some other questions on the other side of our next break. And we also are going to share with you some surprises on the other side. So we'll be right back here on the Miracle of Prosperity.
New Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience? Or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.
And we're back here on the Miracle of Prosperity with my very special guest, Reverend Tonya D. Parker. Now, Reverend Parker, one of the aspects of your book from distress to de-stress was progressive muscle relaxation. And I was fascinated by that because that to me corresponds with directly with what we can do to release blockage, allow flow, and the flow in any form is simply an aspect of prosperity that we say yes to that might have been blocked by blockages. So can you speak to our audience a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. I love progressive muscle relaxation because it really is it looks counterintuitive to folks. It's like, what are you talking about? I'm tightening my muscles to relax them more. So it is the progression of going from head to toe or toe to head, where you systematically contract the muscle group and hold it for a few seconds, and then you release it. So you're bringing tension into the muscles and releasing to get greater gains. And so, it's similar to any process where, I think about a bow and arrow. You have to contract that bow in order to release the arrow for it to go further. So, contracting those muscles and tensing and tightening them and holding them and then releasing helps to bring about more relaxation to those muscles.
Mm. And the more those muscles relax, the more the blood flows. The more the blood flows, The more the oxygen flows, the more the oxygen flows, the more the healing energy flows, because the blood and the oxygen bring healing to all the cells. And that is simply a physical approximation of an energetic shift. Because
Mm,
as we release physical tension, we release the spiritual tension that was the cause of the physical tension. And that opens us to a more of a flow of divine energy. What other ways would you recommend opening to more of a flow of divine energy so that people can open to the prosperity that is a result of being in the flow of divine energy and all of the forms that it would take?
mm. One of the things that I always like to speak to is to do um, a body scan. So check in with your body. What I discovered back when I practiced as a psychotherapist, what I discovered
Mm-hmm.
as a massage therapist, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times people are not in touch with their bodies and what's moving
Mm-hmm.
through their bodies. So just taking the time when you wake up in the morning to scan and start to see where you feel. And you get an idea because a lot of people don't realize they're in pain
Mm-hmm.
until they're in serious pain,
Mm-hmm.
or the joke I like to make is people will say, "Ooh, I didn't know that hurt until you started massaging me." And so
Mm-hmm.
it's not as if I'm hurting people, but I am allowing them to tune into their body more deeply so they recognize where there is pain. So I love checking in with the body. And then when you're checking in with the body, it allows you to check in with your mind too. Where are you emotionally? Where are you mentally? Where are you spiritually? Is your mood off? Is
Mm-hmm.
your energy level off? Where are you feeling tingling or pain? And then once you have that information, you're able to do something with it. You're
Mm-hmm.
able to see what type of intervention may need to happen to be able to address the cause.
Yes. So, in other words, I'm checking in with my body. I feel tension in my shoulders. Why do I feel this tension in my shoulders? I feel this tension in my shoulders because I have a meeting with someone who works my last nerve. Why does this person work your last nerve? Because they make me feel inadequate. Why do they make you feel inadequate? Because they remind me of something that happened in my childhood where I felt inadequate. Well, what was that? That was this. What was the truth there? The truth there that I was never inadequate. This was an environmental factor beyond my control, and no matter what happened, I am still the beloved of God. And as the beloved of God, I allow myself right now to release any judgment of myself, any pain I have held around this, or any reason to withhold from myself my good as a result of this miseducation. So I release and let it go. Does that make sense, Reverend Tanya?
Mm. Ashe. Love it. Yes. Beautiful.
Yes. So that's an
That's exactly.
illustration. Thank you. That's an illustration for all of our audience on how we can do a body scan, how we can check in, how we can then check in and figure out, okay, this is a part of my body that is blocking the flow of good. Why is it blocking the flow of good? What would happen if we were to release that blockage and allow the good to flow instead? Where would it flow in our lives? What would it affect positively? What would it expand our capacity to create or enjoy? And that's
Mhm.
another reason why healing is such a powerful key to
Mhm.
prosperity. And
Mhm.
so, Reverend Tanya, we are so grateful that you have been on. What are you working on these days? I know how busy you are in so many modalities.
Well, Reverend Jim, I am doing my best to take my one of my words for the year, which is
Hmm.
focus, and focus
Yes.
in a bit more. So I really am expanding my Reiki.
Okay.
So definitely traveling with it, providing
Hmm.
remote Reiki for folks as well as in-person sessions,
Hmm.
teaching Reiki classes around the country. And
Mm.
now I am offering some coaching and mentoring for those who have completed their Reiki journey in terms of training, but they still want support in maintaining in that modality and serving their clients. So I have Reiki, I have all the relaxation offerings, with working with companies and communities and individuals with relax and restore sessions, with coaching, um, with self massage, progressive muscle relaxation, all of that. And then what I love retreats, all things retreats. So I have my 3 R's: Reiki, relaxation, and retreats. And
Mm.
so we offer destination and local retreats, but I'm so excited to announce
All
not
right.
only are we offering our signature Sacred Sedona Sojourn and expanding to other retreats, we're helping to support other folks to plan and execute their retreats.
Mm.
And we're rolling out personal sojourns. So
Oh.
suppose that, yes, an individual might not want to be in a group of people as they go through their healing process, because we
Mm.
know healing isn't always pretty, and
Yeah, my
things can
mascara
get
runs.
you know? And so definitely we can do an individualized experience where you can cry and have your mascara run all that you want. We'll provide the lodging, the yummy food. We'll provide wonderful body work and a la carte services that you select to help support you in your healing process. So I love, 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 the idea of getting started with that.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Sounds like you're working on a lot of wonderful stuff, Reverend Tonya Parker.
Most definitely. And last but not least, I am putting together another book project.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So this is an anthology, which is my very first. And
Okay.
this is Witch Voices: Women in Tune with Conscious Healing, Remember
Mhm.
Their Truth, and Reclaim Their Power. And so we are gathering 33 voices to
Mm.
contribute to the anthology and just spread more healing around the world and destigmatize that term, as we, as conscious healers,
Mhm.
um, reclaim the power that we have, our innate ability to heal and to be able to assist others in healing as well.
Women in touch with conscious healing. What a wonderful set of projects and offerings, from Reiki, individual training, group training, from relaxation techniques, including massage, etc., from sacred sojourns for healing, at both individual and group, and all of your books. I love Diary of a Witch's Daughter, by the way. Did I ever tell you that? I
Thank
don't
you.
know if I ever told you that.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, I absolutely love that book. And so check out everything that Reverend Tanya's doing. Here's her contact information. Go ahead and read it off because I don't have my glasses on.
All right, it's www.mbsfood.com/contact. MBS stands for mind, body, soul. So mbsfood.com/contact. Reach out to me and I will definitely reach back out to you.
Beautiful. So you're working on some wonderful stuff, Reverend Tanya.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah. I've got some interesting stuff too.
Well, I want to hear about it because, I follow you on Facebook as well. And it's like, wait, he just did a book. Oh, there's another book. Oh, he has an audio book. I'm loving it. What else is happening in your world?
Well, of course, like you, I'm working on another book project because once they come, they keep coming. Amen. And
Amen.
this is what's important for everybody at home to know. When you open to the flow, you just open and things just keep coming and it just gets better and better and better. Because you see, uh, Jim's goal was to do one book by the end of the year. Spirit got a hold of me. And then there were two. It's like, wait a minute. But that's what happens. The more you open to the flow, you said the universe says, you said yes. Oh, all right. He said yes. Boom. There's much more. So, of course, I'm working on another book, but I've got a gift for everybody, and I'm going to be announcing this tomorrow. Those are my two new books, The Prosperity from A to Z and Create a Self-Manifesting Vision Board. But what I'm going to be offering beginning tomorrow, and the only way that you can take advantage of this is to go to my website, and if you're not registered on my website, to register. I am going to be offering a buy one, get one free. If you buy any of my books for a limited time while supplies last, I'm going to give you an ebook of The Soul of Prosperity, the big book, for free. All you have to do is go to my website, www.revjimwebb.com, register, then let me know that you bought any of my books from Amazon.com, and I will give you an e-version of the Soul of Prosperity for free. And if you already have the Soul of Prosperity, you can give it away. If you don't have an ebook version of the Soul of Prosperity, you've got one. If you want an ebook version of the Soul of Prosperity, buy another book and give it away. And then you get the ebook version of the Soul of Prosperity. So you'll hear more about this because I'm going to send out emails and, of course, put it on Facebook and everywhere else beginning tomorrow. But that's what I'm up to that is helpful for everyone. That's my gift to everyone this week. So we both got a lot of stuff going on, and in a moment, I'm going to let you go so you can continue your journey of healing with everyone else, but not before I just thank you so much for all that you do and all that you are. One of the other things I'm going to do tomorrow, I'm just making my full agenda for tomorrow, and that's supposed to be my off day. But one of the other things I'm going to do is that sermon that you did recently about the lotus. I want everybody on the planet to hear that sermon. So I'm going to load it on the website, on the blog section of the website tomorrow. And I've got another special announcement coming out for the chapel tomorrow as well. And I'm going to include that sermon on the lotus in that special announcement that comes out tomorrow for the chapel, because everybody on the planet needs to hear that sermon. And so with that, I want to thank you, Reverend Tonya, for all that you do, all that you are. I want to thank you for bringing such enlightenment to our guests tonight, to our home audience tonight, on how they can heal and expand their capacity for prosperity. So I hope you have a good night, and I hope our audience at home has a wonderful evening. And thank you for joining us tonight here on The Miracle of Prosperity on the New Thought Media Network.